Hello! So today I've decided to draw a strawberry, which is a bit different, but it's the same process. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in the strawberry itself, and then I'm going to gradually add detail to it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a colour. So this red looks pretty nice, and I'm going to start a new layer. Okay, so that keeps this strawberry photograph layer safe. So using the Tara Lee brush in Artistic, I'm just going to roughly sketch out the shape of this strawberry, and don't worry, I'll speed through anything that's going to take too long, as I know we all have lives. Right, so just the basic shape. Okay, just make that a bit bigger and fill it in inside. Okay, it doesn't matter if we go out over the edges a little bit, I'll tidy all that up in a moment. Okay, I just want the basic shape of this, so it kind of comes up here, around there, and then from there it just kind of goes out a bit more. It's probably a bit too much. Right, now what I do with my eraser, or rubber, however you like to say it, is I choose the same brush. Okay, so I'm choosing Tara Lee Artistic for my rubber, so it keeps the image consistent, makes it look more like a picture, like a painting in that style. So I'm just going to cut around where I feel that it's gone a bit wrong, not too much. Okay, make it a bit smaller so I get a more targeted approach. See? There we go, starting to get that nice strawberry shape. Now, the reason I've picked a strawberry is because it is very similar in shape to a human face. Now, human faces aren't generally round, and I thought with a human face you kind of get bogged down in a lot of the detail, whereas a lot of the things on this strawberry are fairly standardized. Like the formation of the seeds and the nice leaves and things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that colour again, just shrink it a bit so I don't mess up the... There we go, I think that's pretty good. So what I can do here now is I can go to my layer, which is layer 2, and I'm going to use 2 fingers, and I'm just going to swipe across, wrong way, I'll swipe across to the right, and then you'll get these squares behind your thing. That's locked that image, so the only thing I can draw on now is this red heart shape. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to bring down the opacity quite low, so we can gradually build up the colours. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a bit of light over here, we've got a bit of yellow here, some sort of darker reflection here, and since we picked the mid-tone, which is basically the centre of it, I'm going to move over here. I think this colour over here is slightly darker. Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just double tap out of that, just make my brush slightly bigger, let's see what we get. Okay, right, so that is marginally darker, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gradually build into this. Okay, I've got the shape, okay, and I'm just going to pick areas where I think things are lighter and darker, and we're just going to gradually work into these things. a bit of that. Okay, that's quite good there. And we'll get some of this. And that kind of goes about here, doesn't it? We'll work that in. Now don't worry if it's not looking right yet, okay? We're not going to go instantly into a perfect looking strawberry. It's going to take a bit of time. And that's where we have to be in the head. It's like art is a process. Yeah, not everyone can do it because not everyone is patient, and art takes patience. Okay, so I might bring that down a bit. As I said, I'll forward through things that I think you kind of get the general gist, and then I'll stop and play again when I feel there's stuff that you might want to know. Okay, right, so I've got this nice orangey colour. I'm just trying to sort of work that in a little bit here. Just want to blend it into things, so that's good. Right, I feel that that is starting to look like a good three-dimensional object. Okay, so let's just get a bit of colour here, make the brush slightly smaller, try and follow the look of this white patch here. So it looks like this bit comes down slightly lower than the rest. Not bad, not bad. Put a bit of a line there. But generally speaking, that's how I tend to sort of formulate these kind of images. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the seeds. And as you can see with the seeds are brilliant here because they create kind of like an impact zone. So you've got like a little crest of light here, a little bit of shadow. So they are going to be fun and possibly annoying to do. So I'll probably speed through this as I do it. So I'll do the first one. Okay, so this one's pretty fun. Let's try and get that. Okay, so it goes from like dark yellow, sort of a mustardy colour, up and into a white. So I'll pick the mid-tone. Okay, and I'm going to up the opacity to max, bring the size of the brush quite small, and let's see if we can do this. If I can do this. There we go. So what I might do, just to be on the safe side, I'll do this on a separate layer. That way you can do things with less pressure. So it goes in a kind of and a kind of swirl. Kind of goes around here, doesn't it? That's what they tend to do. So that's what I'm looking for when I do my pictures. I'm looking for a pattern, and that is what I'm looking at with this strawberry. So they're not straight across like this, they swirl into this, like it's sort of twisted into this shape as it grew. Okay, so I'm going to try and replicate that as close as I can. I mean, that's what art is really, isn't it? It's mimicking. Okay, so don't worry, you don't have to watch me do all of these. I will fast forward and get back to you when it's all finished. Okay, so now I'm back and I've done all those. It took ages. It took a while. Right, so now what we've got to do is we've got to figure out how to make these look realistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same again. So swing it all to the right to lock these in place. So what I'm going to start with is the dark side. Okay, so these are all a little bit darker. I don't know if you saw that. Let's just show you again. Okay, so some of the strawberries on this side are that dark. Okay, so I'm just going to bring down the opacity, bring up this size of this. Okay, just going to go gently over some of them. Okay. So I'm not going like crazy. I don't really want to like cover them up too much. I want some of the light left there. So bring down the opacity a bit more, size a bit. Because I want it to look like a sort of gradual shadow. If you're wondering what the meowing is, if you can hear it, our cat has fleas and she wants to come into the house. And she can't, she has to stay in the utility room. She is not happy about it. She is not sympathetic about me trying to do this video. And I'll be out there shortly to see how she is. Don't worry if you are worried. Okay. So it's going to be a bit darker underneath. Okay, and let's have a look at the colours that we've got going on. So we've got different type of colour over here. Get that with my finger. It's a little bit more yellowy here. So let's take advantage of that. Brush it a little bit bigger. Bring up the opacity. Now don't worry if we cover up slightly, because my plan is to go in with the lights after doing the shadowing. Okay. But predominantly the darkness on these seeds is on the lower portion of the seed. So certainly when you start getting to where all the lighter ones are, you want to be a little bit more careful to sort of capture the edge just slightly. Okay. Alright, so I'd say that that's pretty good. Now I want to capture the lightest part of them. Okay, I'll zoom in slightly more. You can see what I'm going to do here. So now I'm just going to sort of do the light where I think that these ovals will get captured. So the light's coming in. Okay, I think that's okay. I think maybe we can go in a little bit darker around some of the edges here. So, okay, that's pretty good. See what that looks like. The reason I'm capturing the shadow where I am is because it's underneath, so on the top of the seed is the light, which means the opposite place will be where the shadow is. This gives the illusion of three-dimensional shape. Okay, how are we looking? Looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to start doing the warped effect around all the seeds. So as you can see here, we've got just a very red part here, and then you've got this faded area of brightness, and then almost perfect white here. So I'm going to try and emulate that, but I'm going to go back to my previous layer and try and incorporate that into this picture here. So using the colours there, let's see if I can get this correct. Ooh, that's not a good start. There we go. I did on the wrong layer. Alright, so I think I'll bring down the opacity a bit. And we'll build into it. There we go, that's a bit softer, isn't it? So I've probably not got all of these seeds in the right place. So I had strawberry seed blindness for a while. But you'll get the general idea. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going around doing this, and I'm not affecting the seed layer because that's above it. So this is all happening on the strawberry layer. I'm just trying to mirror what I'm seeing. Okay, let's shrink that a little bit more. You can probably see it's starting to work. we've got some over here that are more yellowy. So let's try and get that involved. Okay. Do seem to have a bit of red going on. So again, to capture as much of the reality as I can, because then that will help, as I said, with the illusion. So a few of these in this orangey bit here, have got that mid-tone red poking through. So it's just observation, you just look and look and look and look. But digital painting does make things a lot easier, as you can just erase things, you can pick colours exactly as they are from something else. And I wouldn't say it's cheating, I'd just say it's like you're just using a different medium. You're not doing a painting on a canvas, which would require different skills, different knowledge. But it does help to apply some of that knowledge to this. I mean, I'm essentially just doing a painting, but I have got a safety net because it's digital. So if I make a mistake, I can go back and fix it, no problem. If I was doing a proper painting, I'd have to try and colour match things and get it to look good that way. It's all achievable, it's all just part of the process, but it depends what medium you're using. You just go and do one, and you'll figure out what it is you need to do to repair that. Is that starting to look? Yes. So a little look in the camera above the iPad, and quite pleased that it's looking like I want it to look. Of course it was going to look the way I wanted it to look. No, sometimes you do art and it doesn't quite look right. You just have to accept it. Sometimes you have good days and bad days, like everything. Right, so now I'll take some of this white rim light here. And just increase the opacity there. Oh yes, perfect. So now creating this rim light around things to make it look like it's got a dimple where I need it. Okay. So as you can see, that's pretty convincing, isn't it? So we can put in a few more little bits of rim light around things just to kind of add a bit more believability. Okay, so I would say that's pretty convincing. Could probably get away with a little bit more darkness around this edge. So if I was to just try and find the darkest area, which is that, I'm just going to make a new layer so don't affect too much. And just want to just do on here. I just want to make that a little bit darker down there. Not too dark. That'll do. Bring it back a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to blend all of this together, so I'll pinch them all. Okay. Now I'm going to do the leaves. Okay, so it's the exact same process. So out of all of this, I'm going to pick the mid-tone. And I'm going to go about here. Okay. Now I'm not going for 100% accuracy because it's going to take me a long time to do it and it'll be a very long video. You probably want to go away and try this stuff yourself. So I'll put the opacity right up to max. Bring the brush down to a sort of reasonable size. Let's say there. So what I'm going to do, this is on a separate layer. So no damage at all to what's gone before it. And just going to try and get the shape of everything. Okay. And what I'll do to make this video quicker is I'll just speed up. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm going to do what I did before with the eraser and just sculpt the leaves so they don't look quite so sketchy. It will look a bit sketchy, but you know, trying to do art here. I mean, everyone's got their own style, or trying to find their own style. For me, I like to have a kind of natural painted effect, if I can. So all I'm doing is sculpting out the shapes so they look a little bit more the way I want them, a little bit more organic. Okay, there we go. So same as before. Just going to swipe hard to the right, lock it all into place. Then I'm going to pick the shadow, the darkest, not too dark, just want to get the darkest green I can, not the... Anyway. So let's see what this does. Right, so bring the opacity up a bit more, maybe bring up the size a bit more. So let's try and get this leaf drawn in. Okay, you can see how quick and easy that is. Make the brush slightly bigger. Doesn't matter if you don't get all of it to be that. It leaves some of the green from the blocking in phase, which makes it again look a little bit more natural. So I'm going to get the underside of this one. I'm not wearing my glasses either, so I'm hoping I'm not making too many mistakes. It sort of come as a bit of a shock to me, really. I think it's being in lockdown for so long and using computers all the time. It's starting to take its toll on my eyeballs. Lightest green. Just trying to create as many of these nice organic shapes as I can. But it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, everything we draw when you really get into it, you find so many details you never thought existed. I mean, this is a strawberry. How often do we take strawberries for granted? You try and draw one, you have a brand new appreciation of the intricacies of it. Sorry, I've got a bit of a groggy throat. Okay, I think I'll take off the lock. Now I can kind of paint in where I need to. So what I do is I take the colour that's near the error. I can just do that. Paint it away. Like it never happened. I'm going to blend those two together. And now I'm going to go around making it look good. Try and pick up the colours that are nearby where things have gone a bit different. Okay. This leaf comes in slightly more there, doesn't it? And this one broadens out a bit more. There. Stands out a bit more, doesn't it? Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there, and I think I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.